Nostradamus predicted Queen Elizabeth would die in 2022.
Among the seers to have ever lived on Earth, the French doctor Nostradamus is considered to be among the most reliable. Notable for his prophecies, Nostradamus foresaw some bleak outcomes for 2024. Scholars agree that his exposure to the unexplained epidemics that swept over Europe in the 1600s shaped his interest in mysticism. Some claim he looked to astrology for guidance, while others believe it was a calculated ruse to boost his status and self-image. What did Nostradamus predict for 2024? Are they likely to come true? Join us as we take a look at Nostradamus's bizarre predictions for 2024. Nostradamus, journey to becoming a prophet. Nostradamus's father was a grain merchant, which may have inspired Nostradamus's interest in agriculture. His family was originally Jewish, but converted to Catholicism to avoid persecution during the Jewish Inquisition. The pressure of the times, when Jews were given the choice to convert to Christianity or have all they owned taken by the government, led his grandfather to make this decision. Consequently, the family name of the Gasconets was changed to de Nostradam, a Christian allusion to the Virgin Mary. Nostradamus showed remarkable intelligence at an early age. His grandpa Jean de Saint-Remy noticed his ability and gave him an early education. Nostradamus also had a special education as a young man. In addition to learning arithmetic and the basic languages of Latin, Greek, and Hebrew, he also studied astrology and Jewish mythology from his grandfather, which set the foundations for his future academic endeavors. Astrology was prevalent in Renaissance Europe, even though it is now universally regarded as unreliable. It claimed that movements of celestial bodies impacted events on Earth. Yet discussing Nostradamus's early life would only be possible with disclosing the reasons behind his passion for prophecy. Nostradamus was frustrated by the lack of scientific explanation for the plagues that befell Europe and quickly turned to astronomy to understand the future through the stars. Jewish traditions also had a significant influence on Nostradamus's worldview. His family's Jewish heritage exposed him to rich symbolism and prophecies found in the Hebrew Bible. His relationship with the Catholic Church was contentious, and at one point his membership in the church contradicted his forecasts. His publications occasionally deviated from church dogma, which prompted claims of heresy. The catastrophic pandemic known as the bubonic plague, which ravaged Europe, forced Nostradamus to discontinue his official education. Following its first 25 million fatalities when it ravaged the Roman Empire, the plague eventually destroyed 60% of Europe. This experience shaped him in a variety of ways. It is possible that experiencing the horrors of the pandemic directly sowed a sense of impending doom and a yearning to comprehend the forces governing human fate. In addition to traveling as a traditional herbal remedy maker, Nostradamus also had to deal with the bubonic plague, a pandemic that claimed the lives of almost a third of Europe's population in the 14th century. This must have exposed him to a variety of medicinal plants and their properties, knowledge that would likely help him in his future career as a physician. Even though he started out as a physician, Nostradamus became well known for his prophecies. Unlike many medical professionals who relied on questionable practices like bloodletting and mercury potions, Nostradamus supported progressive approaches to combating the plague, placing a higher priority on cleanliness, fresh air, and the appropriate disposal of corpses, which set him apart from his contemporaries. Even while his famous rose pill didn't work completely, its main ingredient, rose hips, provided a significant amount of vitamin C, which boosts the immune system. Although there is disagreement on the efficacy of his therapies, Nostradamus's emphasis on cleanliness surely contributed significantly to his success. In 1531, Nostradamus joined Julius Caesar Scaliger, a renowned scholar in Agen, southwest France. There, he found personal happiness, got married, and welcomed 2 children. Tragically, in 1534, while Nostradamus was away on a medical mission to Italy, probably battling the plague, his wife and children passed away of the same disease. This devastating loss not only caused personal grief, but also tarnished his reputation in the community and strained his relationship with Scaliger. Grieving over the loss of his spouse and children, Nostradamus vowed to fight the plague with all of his might. But this time he would not look to medicine for a cure, but to astronomical signals instead. According to one theory, After seeing the horrors of the plague and realizing how powerless medicine was at the time, Nostradamus' perspective changed. It is possible that he turned to astrology and mysticism in an attempt to find answers from sources outside of the physical world. Although Nostradamus' encounters with the plague undoubtedly marked a turning point in his life, another viewpoint suggests that he intentionally cultivated an image of a seer because he faced personal and professional setbacks, and his cryptic pronouncements could have been a way to regain lost prestige. Following this time, he started writing his prophetic verses known as quatrains, which would captivate the world for centuries. People are still fascinated by his prophecies and argue whether they are the result of a clever plan to become famous or a true premonition of the future. What precisely were the contents of Nostradamus' prophecies, and why are they regarded as unclear by some and accurate by others? The prophecies of Nostradamus began at early age. The prophecies of Nostradamus are compiled in the book Les Prophéties. While some claim that Nostradamus had made predictions when he was just 14, there is ongoing debate regarding whether Nostradamus' prophecy at the age of 14 was a youthful pronouncement or a genuine premonition. Some people think his predictions were made later in life to boost his reputation, and most of them are cryptic and open to interpretation, sparking endless discussion about their accuracy. Due to Nostradamus' predictions having a general focus on recurring historical events like wars and natural disasters, it is simple to identify parallels between his poetry and actual occurrences. During his lifetime, Nostradamus' fame increased due to purported prophecies, including the passing of King Henry II of France in an accident. Even though Nostradamus started as a physician, he soon became known for being a prophet, and his predictions are hard to understand since they are written in cryptic language and contain symbolism. Prophetic words were first included in Nostradamus' yearly almanacs before being collected into his larger work, Les Prophéties. During the era of Nostradamus, Europe was ravaged by plagues, and people sought relief in astrology and medicine. Nostradamus quickly gained recognition as a plague doctor, treating the sick with herbal remedies that occasionally seemed to alleviate symptoms. Interestingly, Nostradamus had a somewhat iconic look in the way he is depicted. You see, plague doctors often wore protective clothing, which may have inspired the iconic long-beaked masks they are sometimes depicted wearing. Like many other aspects of his life, Nostradamus' academic career is still up for debate. He tried to obtain his medical degree at the University of Montpellier in 1522. Some accounts claim he had disagreements with faculty members over his astrological interests, which went against accepted medical wisdom. Other accounts claim the university used his previous work as an apothecary, a profession that was deemed inferior at the time, as justification for expelling him from the institution. Still other accounts claim he eventually obtained his medical license in 1525. Nostradamus traveled throughout France and Italy to treat plague patients after this time, according to historical sources. These travels probably had an impact on his subsequent works and philosophical beliefs. Whether or not Nostradamus' prophecies come true is yet unknown. Even if it's unclear and hard to understand, his work provides a window into the human yearning to understand the future. His prophecies were written in quatrains with cryptic language and symbolism, making them challenging to understand. Even centuries after the release of his book, Nostradamus, Les Prophètes, remains a topic of fascination and controversy. While some contend that his predictions are artfully veiled generalizations, others think that they hold canny truth. The first volume of Les Prophètes launched Nostradamus to fame during his lifetime. The public was enthralled with the mysterious verses and eagerly tried to decipher their hidden meanings and connections to historical events. However, religious authorities criticized his work, declaring it sinful and outside the bounds of accepted beliefs despite being unfinished. Although the full vision of Nostradamus never came to be, the actual relevance of Nostradamus' incomplete work resides in its lasting fascination. His forecasts have been affecting popular culture for generations. Both academics and laymen have relentlessly worked to decipher the meaning behind his enigmatic poetry and make links to current affairs. The main complaint leveled regarding the prophecies is their lack of detail. His use of symbolic language and metaphors makes it possible to retroactively fit interpretations to nearly any event after it has occurred, giving the impression that it was predicted. Despite these complaints, Nostradamus' fame is still unquestionable because of his historical writings covering a wide range of topics, including current events. His prophecies have been recorded throughout history and continue to captivate the public's attention. Regretfully, only the first volume of his 10-volume collection of 1,000 prophecies covering the next 2,000 years was finished and published during his lifetime. He had grand plans for the book, which he called Centuries. Not only was Nostradamus an astrologer, but he also worked as a doctor for a while without a formal medical degree. Because of his works, Nostradamus became well known during his lifetime, and Queen Catherine de' Medici of France even sought his advice. Let's take a look at some of the predictions Nostradamus had made in the past that might be interpreted as accurate predictions. The accurate predictions of Nostradamus so far. According to some, Nostradamus foresaw the Great Fire of London in 1666. Quatrain 51 from the 2nd century states that the innocent would be held responsible when London burns down in the year 66, when the venerable city will fall and many people of the same faith will perish. Interpreters view the many fire victims as innocent. The burning of London in the year 66 appears to be a reference to the Great Fire, and the ancient city is symbolic of London, which is frequently portrayed as a woman. The Great Fire of London, which destroyed over 13,000 homes and businesses over 4 days on September 2nd to 5, 1666, forced 70,000 to 880,000 residents to flee their homes, while official records only show 8 casualties. Historians speculate that the real toll would be far higher because many victims of the inferno perished mysteriously. Ironically, the fire eventually helped London since it cleaned out a lot of closely spaced, timber-framed houses, laying the foundation for a city made of brick and stone that is more fire-resistant. The monument, a 202-foot-tall memorial to the Great Fire, is located on Pudding Lane, the same distance from the bakery where the fire started. Although the connection between the Great Fire of London and Nostradamus' prophecy is fascinating, a fair dosage of skepticism is necessary. However, that is not all. Some people discovered a stronger link between Nostradamus' prophecies and the World War II atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Nostradamus wrote about plagues never seen, a description that accurately captures the terrible consequences of atomic weapons. Many of the people who survived the initial blasts ultimately passed away from excruciating radiation sickness. The mushroom cloud that dominated the sky could be represented by the stone in the tree in Nostradamus' quatrain, or it could be a paradoxical image of a bomb. The quatrain takes a more unsettling turn when it foretells famine and pestilence, which could be seen as references to radiation sickness and the long-term devastation of war. Some interpretations of steel birds in Nostradamus' poem may refer to the aircraft used to deliver atomic bombs. The weapons employed before the nuclear bombs unleashed on Hiroshima and Nagasaki were unmatched in their explosions, as they released a catastrophic mix of radiation and heat blast that resulted in both immediate demise and long-term health issues for survivors. An estimated 210,000 people are thought to have perished as a result of the bombings, with many more losing their lives from radiation illness in the months and years that followed the explosions. While some contend that using atomic weapons was vital to end World War II, fast and preserve many lives, others criticize the enormous human cost in the long-lasting environmental harm. The use of atomic weapons is still a contentious issue. Let's now examine some prophecies given by Nostradamus for the year 2024. You will be shocked to learn that this prediction might have already happened very early in the year. A huge earthquake in Japan. One specific forecast for 2024 has attracted a lot of interest. Nostradamus foresaw a massive earthquake that would rock Japan's shoreline and send a devastating wave hurtling toward the country. However, there is uncertainty around this prophecy. The writings of Nostradamus are renowned for being obscure, symbol-filled, and interpretive. Some people see his poetry as prophesying a natural disaster, while others write them off as creative license. Given that Japan is prone to earthquakes, it is still up for debate whether or not there will be one in 2024. The reasons for the incompleteness of Nostradamus' magnum opus Les Prophéties, or just the Prophesies, are still unknown. There have been conjectures that his time may have been primarily occupied by his hard job as a physician during turbulent social and political circumstances. The Frenchman, who was also known as the Prophet of Doom, foresaw the future in 942 poems and made this specific prophecy back in 1555. His precise words were, "The dry earth will grow more parched, and there will be great floods when it is seen." Regarding this prediction, many have speculated that it has already occurred. There have been rumors that the prophecy relates to the terrible earthquake that struck Japan on January 1st of this year. On January 1st, a 7.6 magnitude earthquake struck the north-northwest of Suzu, located on the Noto Peninsula of Ishikawa Prefecture, Japan, causing authorities to issue evacuation orders for impacted coastal districts that saw considerable elevation. More than 2 American football fields' worth of coastline was extended by the strong uplift, according to satellite images taken of the region both before and after the earthquake. Social media posts featuring the Noto Peninsula in Japan reveal spots along the coast where the sea floor has raised above the water, exposing freshly exposed beaches. Once the earthquake and tsunami had passed, the photographs show how the shoreline had changed, with some ports being entirely dry and unusable by boats. 48 people lost their lives as a result of the earthquake, according to many media accounts, and 3-foot-tall tsunamis followed. Ever since the devastating tsunami that struck Japan in 2011, the country has prepared for the possibility of another incident of this nature. Shifting gears, let's concentrate on a few more of Nostradamus' predictions for 2024 that we can prepare for. The erratic climate changes. The first forecast focuses on changes in the climate. Nostradamus prophesied massive floods and the dry earth becoming increasingly parched. This is consistent with climate scientists' legitimate worries about droughts and floods being worse because of global warming. Nonetheless, it is important to remember that Nostradamus' quatrains can easily reveal connections between historical events that were not immediately obvious at the time. His phrasing is ambiguous, thus interpretations might be made to fit a variety of contexts. Nostradamus predicted a dry earth, which probably reflects the worry that many regions are becoming more arid as a result of rising temperatures and changing weather patterns. In certain places, this phenomenon of desertification is already displacing people and affecting food security. Similarly, he foresaw massive floods. This is consistent with the noted increase in severe weather phenomena, such as hurricanes, typhoons, and torrential downpours. Due to these storms' increased intensity brought on by global warming, populations are forced to evacuate and extensive damage is caused by destructive floods. These intriguing facts should be taken into consideration. In the modern world, when the impacts of climate change are becoming irreversible, this prophecy could be seen as a genuine warning that emphasizes the urgent need to solve environmental issues and drastically reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The Intergovernmental Panel Climate Change, IPCC, the premier international agency for assessing climate change, has determined with high confidence that human activity is the primary driver of observed warming since the middle of the 20th century. The IPCC also warns that if greenhouse gas emissions are not significantly reduced, global temperatures may rise by several degrees by the end of this century, which could have disastrous effects. Although there is room for interpretation in Nostradamus' forecasts, the science of climate change is accurate. By switching to renewable energy sources, adopting sustainable practices, and holding our leaders accountable, we can work towards mitigating climate change and creating a more resilient future for ourselves and future generations. Global warming is an issue that is both natural and urgent, requiring immediate action. Nostradamus' predictions for 2024 only get worse as you go further with suggestions of war, famine, and chaos. The world will suffer shortage of water. The geopolitical implications of the next forecast make it even more intriguing. Nostradamus' forecast takes a more sinister turn when he predicts that there will be a collapse in religious institutions. He said that there would be no novices learning from abbots and monks, maybe because of financial problems. He said honey would be significantly more expensive than candle wax, and the expense of the wheat that man encouraged others to eat. This portends financial difficulties due to the rising cost of necessities. People may be forced to leave their existing lives and travel to other locations with more water as a result of the aforementioned dry earth prophecy, which could result in civil turmoil, tearing apart the nations of the world. The importance of getting ready for these potential challenges is emphasized in his prophecies. The prophecy foretells wars between states as they contend for water resources. This is consistent with expert predictions that water scarcity will eventually become a major source of conflict, particularly in areas that are currently experiencing water stress. It's vital to keep in mind that Nostradamus' predictions are frequently cryptic and lack information regarding the origin, timing, or severity of these health concerns. Nostradamus made predictions regarding Vladimir Putin's health and a rough year for the Russian leader. The prophecy also implies that Putin may encounter opposition from within. Nostradamus foretells the birth of an evil successor under the same Chinese zodiac sign, which might allude to a close associate of Putin who takes advantage of his health problems. This close confidant may try to seize control, which would cause instability both at home and abroad. Nostradamus foresees a shift in the global economy that could cause leaders to become doubtful of themselves and turn to currencies in quest of stability and direction due to a shift in wealth and power. This forecast is consistent with current debates over the emergence of new economic powers and the possibility of a multipolar global order. Interestingly, according to predictions made by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, established economic superpowers like the United States and Europe may face challenges from rising economies like China and India as they continue to gain prominence. This change in the balance of economic power, according to a fascinating prophecy, India will play a major role in transforming the geopolitical and financial landscape of the world in 2024. This prediction fits with India's indisputable ascent to prominence in the global economy. With its sizable and diverse economy, fast expanding population, and growing strategic significance globally, India is well positioned to play a major role in influencing global economic trends and policies. Several variables make India a potentially powerful force in global affairs. India's youthful and vibrant population in 2024 offers a sizable chance for economic expansion and innovation. India's continued economic reforms, the expansion of its infrastructure, and its focus on digital technologies position it as a key actor in the global economy. Even in Nostradamus' texts, the mention of aliens and their existence, a modern preoccupation, is not spared. What did he have to say about extraterrestrial life? The rise of aliens. The most intriguing prophecy attributed to Nostradamus is that alien life exists. Some have read his works and poem quatrains as suggesting contact with aliens. It is critical to keep in mind that there isn't any solid scientific proof at this time that extraterrestrial life exists. Nonetheless, the hunt for extraterrestrial life continues to be a vibrant and dynamic area of scientific study. Numerous current initiatives like the construction of large telescopes and cutting-edge space probes are devoted to this goal. The fact that someone mentioned an alien society centuries ago is even more concerning. According to certain interpreters, references made by Nostradamus to celestial creatures and unusual craft may point to interactions with extraterrestrial life forms. The continuous search for extraterrestrial intelligence and discussion among Nostradamus scholars have been sparked by these interpretations. One of the lines from Nostradamus' prophecies that is most frequently quoted about alien life is Quatrain 30 from Century 2. It states that people of all ranks will be against the great pontiff when he shifts his abode far away from Rome and everyone on the planet is in chaos. Even while this quatrain does not specifically address extraterrestrial life, some Nostradamus believers read the references to a great pontiff and people being distant from Rome as metaphors for a cosmic event or otherworldly contact. Strong telescopes like the James Webb Space Telescope are made to find traces of possible life on far-off exoplanets, which are planets beyond our solar system. Advanced spacecraft such as the Perseverance Mars rover look for evidence of possible past or present microbial life on the planet Mars. Modern radio telescopes, such as the Allen Telescope Array, ATA, search the universe for possible signals from extraterrestrial civilizations. The French doctor had more predictions for the year 2024, and interpreters have highlighted quotes that they think are related to predictions for this year. Nostradamus, chilling quotes and their potential meanings. We will share terrifying quotes by Nostradamus about 2024 that have generated a lot of curiosity and controversy. The first quote talks about a naval year in 2024 when the wide ocean is filled with anxiety and red foes are turning pale. Some see this as the possibility of a military confrontation, possibly involving China attacking Taiwan. This speculation is fueled by China's red flag and rising regional tensions. This prediction raises questions about potential military conflicts and how they would affect international peace and security. Many people understand the second quote, which speaks of the King of the Isles not ruling for long before a new king is anointed, to be a reference to King Charles III. As a result, there are worries that Charles may face difficulties because of his relationship with Camilla, which is related to the controversy surrounding Princess Diana. Nostradamus' prophecy about the King of the Isles implies that Charles III may have had difficulties throughout his reign. The idea of a new ruler promoting world peace raises concerns about the possible deeds and leadership philosophies of future kings. If taken in this manner, some believe that Nostradamus' purported prediction of Queen Elizabeth II's death proves his prophecy's truth. Nostradamus' prophecies suggest that Pope Francis might have succeeded, but they don't go into detail about the timing, circumstances, or consequences of this possible succession. This raises more intriguing questions on the direction of leadership in the Catholic Church. The quote, "Through the death of a very old pontiff, a Roman of good age will be elected," may allude to the election of a new pope in the future following Pope Francis's passing. The line that follows, "Of him it will be said that he weakens his seed, but long will he sit in biting activity," suggests a weakening of the papacy. Some interpretations point to this next pope's reign being lengthy, but maybe problematic. The last sentence, which suggests that a younger pope would assume office and that there may be a possible transfer of power, is even more speculative. It might allude to a future power struggle within the church or a shift in the position of the pope. Some interpretations of Nostradamus have raised curiosity about the prospect of a collapse in the power of the Catholic Church because they connect parallels with St. Malachi's prophecy regarding the last pope. But it's crucial to keep in mind the objections to these sets of prophecies. Despite his detractors, Nostradamus left a legacy that continues to fascinate academics and fans. Despite his passing in 1566, many are dedicated to deciphering his strange verses. The lasting impact of Nostradamus' prophecies. Nostradamus' writings are challenging to understand. His verses can be interpreted in a variety of ways, which sparks constant discussion. While some academics consider him to be a visionary, others write off his prophecies as speculations. The decision to believe in Nostradamus' forecasts is ultimately a personal one. Some regard them as insights into the future, while others are dubious and believe that any coincidences between his predictions and actual historical occurrences are the only explanation. Whether or not Nostradamus' prophecies come true in 2024, the future is still unknown. But analyzing historical events and contrasting them with his forecasts can provide a greater knowledge of what is to come. Nostradamus' prophecies challenge us to interpret hidden meanings within his poetry to get views of the future. He connected the passing of well-known people with impending risks of natural and man-made disasters. For generations, people have been attracted and startled by these prophecies, which have sparked intense debates and a mixture of hope and dread. But it is crucial to make a distinction between comprehending the cultural and historical background of Nostradamus and taking his statements at face value. Many of his writings are ambiguous and susceptible to interpretation, and it is still unclear what his real mystical insights are. That's been a look at the predictions made by Nostradamus that many believe will come true in 2024. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more entertaining videos like this one.